Hello and welcome to the Her Retirement Podcast. I am your host, Lynn Toomey. And here in my podcast each week, I talk about how to live a better, more intentional, and financially secure life now and in retirement. Whether you're single, suddenly single, or a partnered up woman, your only sure investment is an investment in yourself. And financial wellness, also known as financial security, isn't just a dream, it's a decision. And when you decide to make a commitment to yourself and change your financial destiny, our fresh, modern platform will help you know more and have more now and in retirement. Welcome to Her Retirement. Welcome to my Know More, Have More financial wellness platform, and welcome to my podcast. Are you ready to get her done? Let's do this. Hello there, and welcome to this week's episode of the Her Retirement Podcast, episode number 48. I am talking about the true costs of retirement. And is it more than you think? Well, most of us, if not all of us, fear running out of money and becoming a bag lady in retirement. In fact, my mother drilled this fear into my head my entire life. So it is well ingrained in me. Even so, I've still made some mistakes along the way. Heck, I'm still making mistakes, even though I teach people about how not to make mistakes. But guess what? We are all human. Life happens. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make is underestimating the true costs of retirement. I see this all the time. And not having a plan to address these costs. There's a myriad of reasons your projected budget might not be enough to see you through a blissful retirement. And I'm going to talk about that this week. I'm also going to talk about it next week. So this is a two-part podcast. So you're going to definitely want to listen to both parts. I got to thinking about this a couple weeks ago as I was moving into my new downsized pre-retirement home. And I saw an article in Yahoo Finance about key signs you may run out of money in retirement. So queuing off of that, I decided to put pen to paper and think about some things that I wanted to share, as well as sharing some of the things from the article and record this episode for you because it is such an important topic. So many people underestimate their costs of retirement. So I'd like to shed some light to help you avoid being blindsided. Even if you think you have all of your bases covered, all of your ducks in a row, so to speak, I encourage you to take a listen and take some notes. You can never be too prepared. And I want all women to avoid as many surprises as possible. Retirement planning is extra challenging for us anyway, as women. We don't need to pile on even more challenges of not understanding these true costs. It's all about, like I say, knowing more and having more. And I believe fortune does indeed favor the smart, the bold, and the prepared. And I hope you are relying upon Her Retirement, my podcast, my Masterclass, all the resources I bring to bear to help you get prepared, get smarter, know more, and have more. So let's take a look at some of the bigger mistakes when planning our retirement costs. And then I want you to make some extra preparations to address the true cost of retirement. You know what? Worst case, you'll have extra money at the end of your life and you'll leave more of a legacy than you had planned. Isn't this better than running out of money? So let's take a look at 15 mistakes many of us make when estimating true costs of retirement. Number one, opportunity costs. This is basically meaning that you don't start saving and investing soon enough. Number two, lack of a long-term care plan. Number three, not estimating life expectancy. Number four, a realistic estimate of healthcare costs. Number five, not accounting for inflation. Number six, forgetting about some big ticket expenses you'll likely have. Number seven, you're changing spending habits. Number eight, being in what I call the sandwich generation, loaning money to your kids or your parents and taking time off perhaps from work to care for parents. Number nine, spoiling the grandkids. And I just had my first, haven't started spoiling her yet, but you definitely have to reel that in. Number 10, not understanding or factoring in taxes. And there's also a huge opportunity to make your money last longer with very smart tax planning strategies. Number 11, forgetting about fees. Number 12, getting divorced. Number 13, taking on too much debt or new debt prior to retirement. Number 14, taking too much money from your nest egg each year in retirement. And number 15, underestimating the impact of market fluctuations. And you know what? I just decided to add number 16, not getting educated and wasting time, not doing anything, or planning with the wrong team. I see that happen all the time. Or sometimes women have just had a bad experience with an advisor and they've just kind of shunned all advice. And I think that can cost a lot in retirement by just walking away and saying, you know what, there's no good guys out there, but there are. Trust me, there are. So in this week's episode, like I said, I'm going to talk about 1 through 8, and then next week I'm going to cover 9 through 16. So number 1, opportunity costs. Opportunity costs represent the potential benefits that an individual, an investor, or a business even misses out on when choosing one alternative over another. And because opportunity costs are unseen by definition, they can be easily overlooked. Understanding the potential missed opportunities when a business or an individual chooses, say, one investment over another allows for better decision making. In addition, when you don't start saving and investing as early as possible, you lose out on all the opportunity of compounding interest over that time period. So that is a lost opportunity cost. So, how to better prepare? Every time you need to make a decision, you need to consider the opportunity costs. And if you haven't yet started consistently saving and investing, you need to adjust your budget so you can start both as soon as possible. Number 2, long-term care costs. More than half of adults turning 65 today will need long-term care, and about 1 in 7 will need care for more than 5 years. And this is according to the Department of Health and Human Services. So if you receive care in an assisted living facility or nursing home, you know what? You're going to have to shell out some pretty big bucks. According to a National Center for Assisted Living report, the median cost for assisted living in the United States is about $4,300 per month or $51,600 annually. Over 800,000 Americans currently reside in assisted living facilities, with just over half of the residents being 85 plus years old. And according to Genworth's Cost of Care survey, a private room in a nursing home costs $290 a day or $88.21 per month or $105,852 a year. Even the wealthy could be at risk if they incur long-term care needs. So, how do we better prepare? First, sign up for a long-term care insurance policy or hybrid life insurance policy that will pay out if you have a long-term care event. Another option is a longevity annuity. This is an insurance product that requires a lump sum investment and will provide a steady stream of retirement income. But you have to wait several years or until a certain age to start receiving your payout. You should definitely meet with a retirement advisor who can help you devise your long-term care strategy. At Her Retirement, we have access to a pretty cool software that can help you estimate your chances of having a long-term care need as well as your longevity projections. And it's very, very important to know also that a reverse mortgage is also an option for paying for a long-term care insurance policy. And I am excited that in episode 50, I believe, I am going to be interviewing a reverse mortgage specialist who's going to educate us on this very important retirement strategy. Next, number 3, life expectancy. Retirement will cost much more if you live a good, long life. It's kind of a double-edged sword, I know. About 1 in 4 65-year-olds today will live to age 90, and this is according to the Social Security Administration. If you plan for, say, 20 years of expenses in retirement, but end up living for 30 or even 40 years in retirement, you'll need to figure out how to make your nest egg last. So, how to do this? Rather than just projecting 20 years after your retirement date, a better option is to project out to age 100, just to be on the safe side. You may decide you have to work longer in retirement. However, if you're not happy with your job or your career, maybe you'll consider a new work path that can be done in retirement and allows you to make an income. Be cautious, however, because more than 3/4 of today's workers at 77% expect to work for pay even after they retire. And this is according to a new Pew Research Center survey. However, these expectations are dramatically out of step with the experiences of people who are already retired, just 12% of whom are currently working for pay either part-time or full-time, according to the Pew survey. So the message is many of us plan to work in retirement, but many, many more actually do work in retirement. In addition to the software available through her retirement for longevity and long-term care need calculations that I mentioned a few minutes ago, you can also check out the life expectancy calculator at living to100.com. And that is living100.com. Here you can get an estimate of how long you may live based on your health and your family history. One way to better prepare is with something I call a longevity insurance plan. In this plan, you'll rely on withdrawals from your diversified investment accounts earlier in retirement and then Social Security after age 70, allowing the benefit to accumulate to its full benefit. Additionally, you should consider a personal pension plan that offers a source of lifetime income, such as an annuity, if you don't have a pension or Social Security. Number 4, healthcare costs. According to the Fidelity Retiree Healthcare Cost Estimate, an average retired couple age 65 in 2021 may need approximately $300,000 saved after tax to cover healthcare expenses in retirement. Of course, the amount you need will depend on when and where you retire, how healthy you are, and of course, how long you live. The amount you will need will also depend on which accounts you use to pay for healthcare. So, for example, if you use your 401k, an HSA, IRA, or taxable accounts, your tax rates in retirement, and potentially even your gross income. So, how to better prepare? Costs for healthcare could be significantly higher in retirement. That's just the fact of the matter. And while some things like mortgages will go down in retirement, healthcare will likely go up, especially if you're not healthy. So I always say one way to avoid these costs is to make sure you are focusing on your health, your nutrition, your fitness, and making it a priority. In addition to things like Medicare costs and out-of-pocket costs, don't forget about prescription copays, especially if you are dependent on prescriptions. Some are within your control and some are not. Make sure to compare your Medicare options to choose the right plan for you. Experts say it can be worth spending more on the premium for a comprehensive Medicare Advantage plan or supplemental Medicare plans to get better coverage and reduce your out-of-pocket costs. You need to consider the pros and cons of each. At Her Retirement, we can connect you with a Medicare planning specialist. It's certainly a big maze that many people opt to get help figuring out because the Medicare manual is ginormous and it's confusing, and you can get connected to a Medicare specialist and just get it done. Another tip, if you're still working and your employer offers an HSA eligible health plan, or you can get one through your own small business, consider enrolling and contributing to a health savings account, also known as an HSA. The HSA can help you save tax efficiently for healthcare costs in retirement. It's at the top of my to-do list, but you need a high deductible health plan, and I have been on the hunt for that. So that is one of the things I hope to do soon. Like I say, I am walking the talk, so I'm trying to get these things done too. You can save pre-tax dollars in an HSA and possibly collect employer contributions, which have the potential to grow and be withdrawn tax-free for federal and state tax purposes if those are used for qualified medical expenses. Okay, number 5, the cost of inflation. It's talk of the town these days, unfortunately. Even though rates of inflation are very high right now, historically, inflation has averaged about 3%, and I do believe it will be settling back down to that amount. But while we're working, we don't often notice inflation because our pay typically increases at the same rate or more. However, in retirement, you may not see inflationary increases. Social Security, however, does offer an annual cost of living increase. So here's an example of how inflation can impact your retirement costs. Over 20 years, your $100,000 of retirement savings will be likely worth 60% less in buying power. That's a big hit if you don't account for it. And how can we better prepare? You and or your advisor planner must factor inflation into your retirement calculations. Many online calculators or simple spreadsheets that I've seen don't factor in inflation, and this is a big mistake because it can have such a big impact on the projections and your outcome. One way to protect against the impact of inflation would be to consider delaying your Social Security benefits. You can maximize your Social Security benefit by waiting to claim it until age 70. Not only will your monthly check be bigger, but the Social Security Administration's cost of living adjustment, which helps benefits keep up with inflation, will be applied to that bigger payout. One of the greatest hedges against inflation is also investing in the stock market. One of the worst mistakes is leaving your money in the bank and just saving and not investing. Okay? Very important. Number 6, big ticket items. When doing retirement income planning, you're going to need to estimate both your income sources and your projected expenses. And one thing you cannot forget about are the big ticket items that most of us have during retirement. So how do we prepare for this? Whether it's a car repair, home repair, unexpected medical needs, something our kids needs, our parents needs, there's always a big ticket item that comes along. You need to make a list of possible ones that you could face and then build a big ticket line item in your retirement budget. Very important not to overlook that. Number 7, changing spending habits. Sometimes in retirement, spending habits change by choice or by happenstance. Your fun money spending habits are likely to change, especially if you're planning some travel and vacations, shopping, eating out, socializing with friends, family, other entertainment, spending on family, grandchildren, like we talked about. This cost will come down to really thinking about how you want to spend your time in retirement and how this will affect your money. So how do we better prepare? Well, we can project it, right? We can say we want to go on one big trip a year. We want to go on a trip every quarter or, once a week. We want to do a weekend getaway. Whatever it is, the more you can project and kind of plan for that, the better off you'll be. With your extra time in retirement, you want to find ways to spend less on these new spending categories. You'll be able to shop around for the best deals, which I highly encourage. Also find entertainment and travel that might not require as much money, but still gives you a good and healthy quality of life. There are plenty of free ways to stay busy after retirement or low-cost ways. Check out local communities for many great programs for seniors and retirees. You know what? And also consider where to retire to, right? I think there's cheaper communities and communities that offer more services for retirees, more affordable places that cater to us and our budgets. Number 8, money and care to kids or parents. You could end up spending a lot more in retirement than expected if, number 1, you lend money to your children or your parents, or 2, you take time out of work to care for aging parents. This is often way underestimated by pre-retirees. So how do we prepare for this? By creating a plan and, having a plan for how you're going to help kids or parents, is going to definitely help. But of course, you're going to need to have the discipline to say no when you can't help, right? It's okay. It's okay to put yourself as a priority and tell the kids, tell the parents, that you just can't do it. It's hard to do, especially when you do have the money, but you are saving it for your future. Your future is just as important. Your retirement security depends on the balance you create between your retirement income, assets, and spending. If you spend down your assets by making loans to the kids and parents and other people, you could risk not having the income you need in retirement. A plan helps you establish those tough boundaries. I know they're very hard to establish and to stick to. So that is number 1 through 8 of the 16 cost mistakes that we underestimate, quite honestly. I hope this part 1 episode on the true costs of retirement has given you some pause, has given you some new insight and some things to think about and start planning around. There are many ways to better plan for these costs, avoid mistakes, and retire with more. Next week in episode 49, I'll cover costs 9 through 16. Really good stuff. Please make sure to listen in, take notes, and start planning around all 16 costs. If you'd like to chat about your situation, as always, email me at lynnt@herretirement.com. I can also connect you with whatever planning and advice resources you need, whoever you need to speak with. You can talk to the folks at your retirement advisor. Whatever it is, I will find the right person for you. Here's to knowing more and having more and getting her done. Thanks for listening.